Looks like we're live. A little red tick us up. That's good. Welcome, everybody. Right, so we are going to be talking about personal style. What is it? Why you need it? How to do it? And just generally speaking, how important it is. And quite a challenge at times for some people, this. So I'll give it a minute before I start getting into it, because it takes a little while for it to catch up on the system here and people to be able to log in and catch up live. So let me tell you what we're doing in the meantime. In the next sort of few days. So today, obviously we've got this one now. We did one this morning. So if you missed it, the playback this morning was just some of the challenges that people face in business. So I just gave some examples of what some of the things that I came across when I first started. So tomorrow, lunchtime, he says, well, 12:30, we're going to be talking about Lightroom. I'll show you a live demonstration of a sort of a fairly brief edit, but particularly looking at the new Lightroom features, because in the develop module now, there are some masking tools that weren't there before, and some tools that were there, the brushes and stuff, which for some of you may look like they've disappeared, but they haven't. Itchy eyes. They've just been morphed into a thing called masking. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, and I'll show you live how it works. And Thursday, the membership is opening. So let me get my little banners up. Got to have our little banners, haven't we? So that is going across the bottom, the Full Frame Club, which is all about making money from your photography or earning a living from photography, full-time, part-time, and so on. So that's what we're launching on Thursday, which is a new version of what we had in the past, which was the Pro Aspiring Pro. There we go. Afternoon, Keith. Welcome. As well as membership for the Academy. So that's been going on a year and a half now. So if anybody wants to join that, the doors are opening on Thursday as well, at the same time, for sort of membership. So if you're not really interested in making money from photography, but want to learn more about photography, get involved in a group of people that are moving forward and doing things with their photography, lots of online learning, lots of webinars each week, private Facebook group, and so on. All that's all opening at the same time. But today we want to talk about, personal style. Oh, by the way, so I go back to Thursday. So in the morning, the doors are opening. I'll be live 10 o'clock telling you all about it. Marketing your business at 2 o'clock. And then in the evening, fairly big on this, at 7 o'clock, probably an hour or so, we're going to be talking about setting up a business. I shall give you a bit of a masterclass just to give you some of the, because there's lots to think about, hence the Full Frame Club. Lots to think about, lots of different aspects to it to get it right. And more importantly, how to make it profitable and rewarding. So we'll talk about that. And then on Friday morning, talk a little bit more about generating and managing leads and cheap competition, something that comes up a lot. Oh, there's a bloke down the road who's doing equine photography for half the price of mine, or whatever it might be, or the wedding photographer down the road is doing it for, half the cost. So we'll talk about that and how you manage it. But in the meantime, if you've got any questions, do let me know. Let me put the website up on here, and then I'll start having a little chat about personal style. So beyond Lens Acad. I knew I get it wrong at one point. Academy.com. Let me just check that. Beyond the Lens Academy. TheLensAcademy.com. Right, that's the website. So if you click on it, and it'll take you to the top of the website. Right at the top, there's a little video for me, which you can watch if you want, which is when I open the registration for the Full Frame Club, as it clicks along here. And there's a little form in there that allows you to sort of give me some information about who you are, why you think you might want to join, what you want to get from it and stuff, just to make sure that when we do go live on Thursday, we've got people that are joining that are going to get the most from it, because it's important that we do that. So yeah, do fill that registration form in. Now, personal style, something I get asked about a lot. It's something that a lot of photographers don't really understand, but they may already have it, but they don't realize. And some people just don't have it, and it's difficult to. I've just realized. Let me. Can I delete these comments? Yeah, let me delete these comments a minute, because I've just realized I've spelt the website wrong. Yeah, let me do it. 2 seconds. I put one W in. It might still work actually, but hang on. Okay, let's try again. www.beyondlensacademy. I will actually start getting this as a link and just copy pasting it. I'll make sure to go about this. www.beyondthelens academy.com. Right, let's try again. Right, that looks a bit more like it. Well, let me delete that one for some reason. Right, so personal style. It's a really important part of photography. It's one of the things that differentiates you from others, makes you stand out, and makes people book you. Or rather gives people a reason to book you. It's like it's your brand, your sort of personal signature, if you like. It's the thing that makes all the difference. And without it, you're just another image creator out there, along with a list of hundreds and hundreds of others. With it, you are somebody who has a specific style that people may or may not want. Doesn't mean everybody's going to want it, but it's important to have it. Now, let's just continue talking a little bit more about what it is. So if I show you some of my pictures, I'm quite well known now for dog photography. That's my thing. Obviously, people in the academy do different things. Weddings, pets, generally, horses, equine, all sorts of different things. But for me, the kind of thing I'm known for is this is a fairly typical shot of me. So it has started to lean towards gun dogs a bit, but it's not specifically just gun dogs. But it's sort of, here you go, he's not a gun dog. But it's this sort of stuff. And here we go, another one here, look. Just flicking through them. So people now know, and I get this comment all the time, if I put a Facebook post up and people are scrolling through the pictures they often say to me, oh, I knew it was a Carl Thomas photography dog shot before I even saw the watermark, because sometimes I forget to put the watermark on occasionally. And that's what you're trying to aim for. And so what that means for me is that when people are looking to book me as a photographer, they're booking me because they like my style, not just because I'm a bloke who takes photos of dogs. I particularly like his style. It tends to be outdoors. The way I would describe it is outdoors, natural environment, action shots, dogs being dogs doing what dogs do. And that works for me. And it's something that I've created, not initially intentionally, but when I understood it and learned about it, it became quite intentional. And so that's what we're talking about today. So you need to have an imprimatur, a personal style. It's not easy. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of practice and repetition. What it isn't, let me tell you a couple of things it's not. Well, one thing in particular it's not. It's not saying, okay, I'm let's say a wedding photographer or an equine photographer, whatever photographer you are, I'm a insert space photographer. And I spent the last 3 days on the internet looking around what everybody does. And I quite like this one. They're all fairly similar. So I'm going to do that because they seem to be quite popular. That is not rewarding, frankly, a bit stealing. It's not a good way of doing business, and you won't enjoy it. Also, what you're doing there, without thinking about it, is you're adding yourself into something that's already exists. Somebody else has been doing it for a while. Doesn't mean you can't set up a business that other people have been doing, of course, but you don't want to copy other people. So don't do that. Looking at everybody else's work in the genre that you're in, whatever type of photography it is, and getting some sort of flavors of what people are doing, that's research. That's a good thing to do. You should always be aware of what your competitors and what's going on in the industry, what sort of types of photography are becoming popular, and what types of photography are becoming less popular. So you need to have that in your sort of mindset and awareness, but don't go and copy it all, because it's just not a done thing. Too many people do it and they don't do very well as a result of it. So what, the why. Why do you need one? Let's just think about why for a minute. And then I'll talk about some of the things that you can do to actually sort of generate it. I mean, fundamentally, it's a brand. So if you don't have a brand, a design, a brand, an appearance, I mean, arguably logo in a sense, but a logo without the need of a logo like we've got up here. Well, I've got one that says Carl Thomas Photography, but that one there, look. But people look at my images and go, Carl Thomas. People look at Kaylee Greer's work, dog breath photography in America. I know her really well, good friend of mine. Oh, that's a Kaylee Greer shot. Bright, saturated colors, close up, amazing. Andy Bigger work tends to be black background stuff. It is very popular. So let's see what's going on here. Brilliant. A few people coming on live. Which is great. Anybody got any questions? Do ask me. Don't mind. Don't be shy. But yeah, so if you are in America and you want a shot of your dogs with their feet in the sea and beautiful bright blue skies and maybe a starburst and really saturated colors, you're going to go to Kaylee Greer. There's nobody else comes up in my mind. If you're in the UK and you want sort of a particularly individual shot, black background, maybe you've got a black lab, Andy Bigger is definitely, I mean, I do it as well, but Andy Bigger is one that would come to mind. So what you've got to ask yourself in terms of the why is think about it from your own point of view. If you're going to buy X, what are the things that inform your decision about going to buy X? Could be anything. Don't think about just photography, but just anything. Oh, I like that kind of car because I love the shape and design of it. I like an Aston Martin because it looks pretty funky. Afternoon, Jill, one of our members. I like a Range Rover because it's got a four-wheel drive feature and it's comfortable, but I just like the look of them. There'll be whatever it is that you go and buy, secure, spend money on a day-to-day basis or on an annual basis, whatever it might be. Sometimes these purchases are quite significant. Well, another one here, another one of our members. Welcome. Then think about that from a photography point of view. If you're driven to buy, I don't know, Farnball paint because you like the color palettes they offer. If you like a certain type of shopping experience, you like John Lewis because for you it means something, you will know what that looks like. And so you will say to people, oh yeah, I'm in the shop. It's a bit like John Lewis is, isn't it? Or, God, that's a nice car. It's a bit like a Range Rover. Well, that's quite sporty. That's a little Aston Martin like. Oh, what you got? Get rid of my phone. Don't want my phone ringing, do we? So that's the concept of it. So we do it every day in our normal day-to-day lives. But when it comes to photography, it's the same thing. So you need to be in a position where people will come to you because of what you offer. And I don't mean that you offer frames and you charge a certain amount of money for your photo session. What I mean is they like your work. They understand what it is that you offer in terms of the style. And that's generated, and we'll come on to how you do it, but that's demonstrated through your portfolio and your website and your Facebook page and your social media presence and generally what you put forward. That's what it should be. And there are some pitfalls amongst this that people quite often fall into, but that's kind of what you're looking to do. So people come to you, they'll be scrolling through photographers because they'll be searching typically, and they'll come to you and they'll be, oh, that's that bloke. Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, I like his work. It's always dogs looking happy out and about. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. And that's kind of what it is. Now, one of the things that often causes a problem with this, with people, photographers, is they may have quite a good personal style or, you know, a particular flavor in terms of their images. If they say they're a dog photographer, and their images of dogs are quite good and they stand out and they're nice, but they're also a wedding photographer. They also do landscapes. They also like doing wildlife. They also like doing cars or whatever else. And so, which is fine. That's quite common. Us photographers like to take photos of all sorts. But the biggest mistake you can make, not biggest, a mistake that is often seen, is that on their sort of shot front, all those things are there. So you've got lots of different types of photography which dilute your style because people are looking at other things. And what people will tend to go for are businesses that specialize in a specific, particularly with photography. So they'll be, okay, I'm looking for somebody to take photos of my labs. Well, they're not going to go to somebody well, they're less likely, I should say, to go to somebody who does weddings and landscapes and everything else and all that kind of stuff. When there are people like me and Andy Bigger and Kaylee Greer, Jill's on here, she's one of our photographer, she's got her own business that specialize in dogs. Occasionally you'll get, there's quite a close call between equine and dogs. That can work because the style can be kind of similar in terms of the editing and the colors. But, you know, why would you go to, it's like if I'm going to go buy an Aston Martin, I'll go to an Aston Martin dealer. I'm not going to be buying one in the near future, I can tell you that. But you can buy them from independents, you can buy them from all sorts of places, but you would go to the main place, wouldn't you? So that's something to bear in mind. It's something that I get asked about a lot because not just from a style point of view, but just generally, you know, I know I'm straying on to sort of slightly other territory here now, but from your own portfolio point of view, it is very tempting, isn't it? If you do, say, dog photography, that's what I do, but I go away, look, let me show you some pictures. I do stuff like this, and this, and things like that. Long exposures, you know, beautiful sunsets in Isla. I don't put that on my dog photography page. And I can understand why people do, because the psyche behind it is, look at this amazing shot of a dolphin or this amazing shot of a salmon. This is going to demonstrate how good I am as a photographer. Doesn't work like that. Joe Public and the consumers out there are interested in, if they've come to my page, dogs. They're not going to book me because, like, oh, yeah, let's get Fido photographed by Carl Thomas Photography because he's done a great photo of a salmon. No, not interested. And so it just detracts from what you're doing. So if you've got a personal style and you developed it, make it the thing that people see when you post on social media, when they come to your website, when you do any kind of marketing material with business cards, or, you know, people still take business cards, believe it or not. Anything you do has a reference to, or is it based on your style? That is really important. Now, what is it? You know, and how do you get it? So I've touched on a bit of both things there, but, you know, it can be anything really. I mean, Ansel Adams in his landscapes, f/64 aperture. Not a lot of people know that, but that's what his favorite aperture. You know, black and white, you know, shots of Yosemite. I mean, the man was globally famous for it. So it can be a combination of things, but the subject matter is clearly one of them. So your style, my style of photography is dogs. So I photograph dogs. In terms of colors, they're usually color, and they're usually very natural colors and balanced, so they're quite natural. Some people, when it comes to dog photography, like Haley Greer, dog breath photography in America, she's the other end. Her colors are very almost oversaturated, really bright, deep, shocking colors. People love that as well. Some people are sort of black and white. That can be quite popular in dog photography, wedding photography as well. There's quite a bit of a swell at the moment for this kind of photography that you see with dogs that are in the woods in sort of almost misty kind of colors and antique color balances. That can be part of a style. So there are a few different things there in terms of color, and it kind of merges into lighting. Lighting is the thing. So Kaylee, she tends to use flash. I don't. I prefer to use natural light. And some people use a mixture of both. So Kat Race up in Kat's Dog Photography, another successful dog photographer in the Midlands. She does off-camera flash, so they tend to be quite sort of well saturated in terms of color. So lighting, how you light. Now that can be, so studio work, if you take it for portraiture, people, headshots or whatever, that is a classic. You know, you can stick somebody in front of a, you know, stick them on a chair like this, put a camera in front of them, take a photo. There is hundreds of different ways of lighting that subject, exposing the subject from an angles, temperature, and so on, depth of field and all that. All those things contribute to becoming part of a style when they become consistent, whatever those are. Composition. Now, I'm a bit of a square cropper. I always have been. I don't know why. Just became that way, and so I've kept it that way because people like it. Every now and again, I'll do one of these. You know, if I've got a photo that will benefit from a rule of thirds type scenario, I'll do it. There you go, middle one there, that one there, look. But other people might crop or compose differently, and that is something that contributes to personal style. Your camera settings. I mean, you know, people go, well, what do you mean by that? Well, it's how you take a photo. Have you got some particular style in terms of your depth of field? Is it always very narrow or is it very deep? Is your color balance always a certain way? Are they always very tack sharp shots, or they tend to be more moody, and so on? And so there's all those things to consider. And there's quite a lot there, isn't there? But the single most important thing, or two things I would say, if I was to leave you with two things, is don't just go and copy somebody else, because it's not coming from here. It's not a creative thing. And the most important thing is practice. This doesn't happen overnight. What you will find is over a period of time, it can be months, can be years in some cases, but, you know, often months, if you start thinking about it, do what comes naturally. Do what you know, with your camera and with the genre of photography that you've chosen or that you're working in, you know, start looking at and recalling and making a mental note of, I really enjoy, I love that kind of shot. When the dog does X, when the horse does Y, when the couple from a wedding photography point of view do X, or you get them to pose to do X. Those are the shots. I particularly love these kind of shots. You know, the action shots, and I'm very happy with those. And that's part of my style now because I love doing it. Because A, because it's hard. B, because I get a lot of reward from it, and clients absolutely love it. And I've just perfected it over the time. And so it's practice. But keep in mind what bubbles to the surface. I like that. Another way you can do it is to print off, if you've got a portfolio, so you've got 50 images or so, get a printer, or you can get them done at, say, Loxley for not much money. Get a load of contacts done, you know, not too small, you know, postage, postcard size, print off 50 or 100. Just have them all over the floor and just start going through, trying to organize them. And you'll find when you look at them from a helicopter view and you've got a load on the floor, that there's a few that stand out or that are similar. And that's another way of sort of understanding where your style's going. And then you start sort of seeing that, okay, maybe I'll spend a bit more time actually focusing on doing that kind of work. And it will work, trust me. But what I can tell you, without it, it becomes very difficult for somebody to single you out and book you to do any kind of photography, irrespective of what kind of genre it is. And there are a lot of photographers out there. It's becoming more and more popular every day. I'm helping it because we're helping people get new businesses going all the time. And with the new exclusive Full Frame Club, which is what used to be called Pro Aspiring Pro, but with more bells and whistles, going live on Thursday, there'll be some more. There'll be hopefully a bunch of people in there that in the new year, 2022, will be launching their business, whether it's full-time, whether it's part-time, or reinvigorating their existing business. We've done that for quite a few people as well. And it is just one of those things, as I think I might have mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, certainly others, if you can earn your living, and my father always say to me, if you can earn your living from a hobby, you never work a day in your life. I think Steve Jobs said that as well. It's quite a popular thing, but it's true. It doesn't feel, trust me, going on the train into London, sitting in a big office, meeting a load of investors when I had a public company, interesting, versus driving in the car down to a lovely part of the countryside, meeting a client in the car park and then going for a walk for an hour or two with their dogs in the beautiful outdoors, in the winter, in the summer, wherever it might be, in the autumn, taking photographs for a few hours of their dogs and getting paid for it. Doesn't come close to that. Nothing goes, I don't think. So it is something worth considering. And because of the last couple of years that we've had, and in fact, in the last few months have been starting to be similar again, there are a lot of people I'm talking to on a regular basis that are going, do you know what, I want a change of career. Either the big decision, like, I've been furloughed, I've got an opportunity to take redundancy, so I fancy doing this full time. Can you help me? And answer, yes. Or they are thinking about doing it part time. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind, having a go. I started part time. I had no idea that when I set this business up, Carl Thomas Photography, that is, that it would be the success that it is. I mean, I just didn't expect it. It's amazing. We've got another one on the go at the moment. I was onto the design team this morning, actually. It's taken a bit longer than we planned, but all things come to those who wait. So we've got a business called Aperture Prize Draws going. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, as some of you may know, which is a prize draw business. So you may have seen, there's quite a few of them out there now, none that do what we're going to be doing now, which is photography-related stuff. So I won a pair of Swarovski binoculars in the summer last year, early last year, from a company called Agri Giveaway. So I don't mind giving them a plug because it's a brilliant business. And I also won a pair of chamois wellies. Tickets cost me, I think it's £4 and £5 or something like that. So we are setting up we're in the process of setting up, I was hoping it'd be live by now, but it's not yet, but it will be soon, very soon. So where you'll be able to go along and there'll be, I don't know, a Nikon Z7 or a Canon R3 or a 1DX Mark III or a great 500mm lens that might cost you £10,000, life-changing money to spend on camera equipment, but you could buy a ticket for a £5 or £3 or £4 or £10 or whatever it might be. Very excited about that. So that'll be going live soon. So we've got lots going on. So what I was going to tell you. So that's it really for the moment, other than, don't forget, tomorrow we have at midday, well, I say midday, 12:30, we are doing Lightroom and the masking tool. So I just thought I'd share that with you all because there has been a bit of a change to it and it is actually better. I'm just going to find my list now. Where's my list gone? There it is. It is better than it was. You might think, well, where's all the brushes gone? But there's some funky tools there which are increasing the speed at which I can edit and give me some slightly better features, which is good. So we'll talk about that tomorrow at 12:30. Then Thursday, full on day, because Thursday the doors are open. They're only open until Sunday night. So if you've been watching these webinars these last few days and during the course of the rest of this week, and you're thinking about it, my advice is don't delay, because we only open the membership a few times a year because we spend our time, as if you look at the, if you're on the Carl Thomas, or if you're on the Beyond the Lens Academy Facebook page, have a look up there and look at the reviews. What we do works really well because we're passionate about working with our members. So we don't spend all our time doing what I do today, which is marketing and telling you what's going on. So Thursday, 10 o'clock, I shall be live, telling you all about it, showing you the features. You'll be able to see on the website what the prices are. We have got some amazing opportunities in terms of the pricing structure for this, because the first time that the exclusive Full Frame Club will be live, so there'll be some initial offers, which will be great. We'll talk a little bit on Thursday in the afternoon about marketing your business, because that can be a challenge with social media changing. It can be a bit like treacle. So we're going to be talking about that. And then in the evening on Thursday, we've got a masterclass. So I thought I'd do one when people aren't necessarily at work. So get yourself a cup of tea, glass of wine, gin and tonic, and log on and watch and have a listen to any questions you might have about a business or you're thinking about doing or where you are. Come along and ask us. So I'm going to talk about all of the whole setup of a business, all the various different aspects of it and things you need to consider, and answer your questions live. And then on Friday, talk a little bit more in the morning about generating leads. And then at lunchtime, midday on Friday, we are going to be talking about cheap competition and confidence. There's a correlation, but what often comes up, often people say to me, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, but the bloke down the road does it at half the cost. Or I used to be quite good, but the bloke down the road is doing it at half the cost. Or a new one setting up and all that kind of stuff. So we will be talking about that in some detail on Friday. And it's a big part of what we do in the academy. But I should tell you more about what's in the academy as well as the Full Frame Club, because we're opening for new members as well on Thursday, nearer the time, as it were. There are all of these. If you're watching this live, brilliant. Thanks for coming along. But the replays, as you will notice, are all on the Facebook page. So we're leaving these live, so you don't need to log in anywhere to see the replay. So they're all there, which is good. So have a great afternoon, evening, and I will see you tomorrow at midday. And there are some webinars this week. Tomorrow there is a webinar for anybody who's in the academy, because that's one thing we do regularly. I can't remember. I need to send a note out. I haven't done it yet. So tomorrow we are going to be talking about, we're doing what we call a freestyle tomorrow at 11. Freestyles for those, and we'll be doing these in both the Full Frame Club and also the full membership. So I go live like this, and we just talk about whatever we want to talk about. Really quite popular. And then on Thursday we are doing, I'm talking about the importance of an editing workflow, because that can be a make or break in terms of getting yourself some profit, because you can spend hours and hours and hours and hours editing otherwise. So lots going on, both for people who are already members and people who are thinking about becoming members. So I'm going to leave you in peace. I'm going to go and get a cup of tea, but thanks for your time. Love to see you. Great to see you, Jill and Ali, and catch up soon. See you later. Bye. Oh, and Keith as well. I forgot Keith was listening on the audio. See you later. Bye.